Hi, my name is Rushali, and I'm here today to discuss about business law subject. Before moving ahead, let's just have a little introduction about me. So, my name is Rushali, and I am a CA finalist student. I've also cleared my LLB. I am a law graduate, and that's about my professional background. Coming to the experiences and what I have taught earlier, I've taught Foundation Business Correspondence and Reporting subject, which was in the previous scheme of our examination. Now the subject has been stopped, and we are going to proceed now with business laws. Also, with my experience, if I would say, I have 4 to 5 years of experience where I have taught CA Foundation students accountancy and Foundation students business correspondence reporting. With English, I have taught English and maths to students from 9th standard to 12th standard with our Maharashtra State Board, and also to some American students with their international board. Okay. So that's a little bit about my professional and my experience background. Now, I would like to start with the subject business laws, which is there as paper 2 for CA Foundation. Coming to this particular subject, we'll be starting with the first concept, that is Indian regulatory framework. I'll be sharing the module with you right now, and we'll be discussing about all the points there in the first chapter. Okay. Yeah. I hope you can see the screen, and we'll be discussing chapter number 1. Now, we are studying business laws. We should understand what is law, how it is applied, where did it come from, what is the source, what are different types of laws. Like we hear every day, there is some different type of law, like this came into act and on this particular year, in this particular year, on this particular date. Now, we'll be seeing how these laws are enacted, how these laws are enforced. We are all following laws and regulations every day, rules and regulations that are formulated by us. Who formulated? Who enforced it on us? Who is keeping a track on us? All these things we'll be learning, and we'll have a brief introduction about major regulatory bodies such as Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, SEBI, RBI, IBBI, and Ministry of Law and Justice. I guess you might have just heard the names of all these things. Now, in depth, we'll be learning about all these particular topics and a brief of this regulatory bodies, law, types of laws, all these things we'll be learning in the first chapter. Okay, let's start. So that's what we discussed. After studying this chapter, you'll be able to understand all these particular concepts which I told you will be learning here. Okay. So now, coming to what all things are there, as I told you, we'll be studying law. So first we'll have to see what is the definition of law. Then we'll be proceeding with what are the sources of law, from where the law is constructed, who constructs it, what is the process of making a law. You just can't say that now this is the law. You have to follow the entire process. What are various types of laws? What are regulatory bodies? All those regulatory bodies will be seen. There are four types, like three types of major laws, and one is the principles of natural justice. All these concepts we'll be learning: criminal law, civil law, common law, and principles of natural justice. Now, let's move ahead. Let's see what they have given in the introduction. So, we are just studying this subject. Why? Because it's only in our curriculum. I hope not just for the curriculum. If you want to be a chartered accountant, it is very important that you know all the laws, all the legal matters, because people are going to come to you, the clients are going to come to you for the advice, for management, and for the clients, you are the one who is going to give the advice, right? So we should be well versed with all the laws. If you want to do a specialization in taxation, so you have to know all the tax laws. All these taxation things which are prescribed are based on the tax laws, so it is important that you know the laws, everything. Now, first we will see what is the purpose. Why was this invented? Because if I say that today you will tax the person who is earning 5 lakh at 20%. Next day I'll come and say that you can tax. If I'm in the parliament and I come and say that today we'll be taxing at 20%. Tomorrow I come and say that this person who has 5 lakh income, but do not charge him 20%, charge him 10%. Is it same for everyone? No, definitely not. There is no uniformity. To maintain the uniformity, to maintain the rules and regulations that will govern the conduct of the people, law was formed. That was the purpose, so that we can interact with each other. The business and the personal things can be interacted. A person can interact with the business. Suppose there are partners in a partnership firm. They have to follow the Partnership Act. That is the law prepared for them, right? So for everything to be communicated in a business, it is important that we have the laws. Okay, now, let's see what is there. What is the history of law? Let's see. Now, what it was, if we talk about the ancient law, people what they used to do in the Code of Hammurabi, it is the oldest written form of law. King Hammurabi ruled Babylon for the period 1792 BC to 1758 BC. What he did, how he applied the law, how he made sure that everyone in the country, in their particular region, is following the law. He carved the code on the bulky stones. He brought big stones. He carved the code on it. He carved the law on it, particular things that are to be followed. And the stone slabs were placed everywhere in the city. Now, public can see these codes. Every day you see the law. Now, somewhere it is written, smoking is injurious to health. Do not spit here. All these are things, these are codes. All these codes, what he did was, whatever codes that he wanted to apply, whatever law things he wanted to apply, he carved it on the stone and placed that stones on different parts of the city. That kind of stones, all the codes on the different parts of city. Now, this was how he provided public with the knowledge of codes, with the knowledge of law. Now, he also appointed judges who is going to check that if you're following the law or not. There are administration powers, so he appointed judges to check whether the public is following the laws or not. Okay. Then, in 450 BC, a set of laws was engraved on 12 bronze tablets. On bronze tablets in Rome, it was engraved. Now, it is considered first most detailed. Now, this comes to 450 BC, earlier than the Code of Hammurabi. Okay, earlier it was first most detailed code. Everything was written in detail about the civilization, any of the civilization. You see, 12 tables was the most important one. Okay, and was the first one which was most detailed code. Purpose of these tables was to protect the rights of public and to provide remedy for wrong. Now, why laws are instructed, why laws are constructed? Because we want to protect, the government wants to protect everyone from wrong being done to them. For this, it is important these laws, these rights are written down somewhere. All the citizens of Rome were supposed to have the knowledge of these tables. Everyone should be aware of this law. Now, what happens? We don't know everything about the law. If I ask you about what is the Hindu Act, Hindu Succession Act, you won't be aware much about it. If I ask you about the Contract Act, you won't be much aware because you are not well versed with this. But this 12 tables in Rome, it was compulsory for everyone there that they have to know about it. They have to have the knowledge of this particular. Over the time, what happened? Many amendments were made as and when required. In India, also, what happens? Every time we need a change, it happens. Now, earlier there was, you might have heard VAT, you might have heard CST, these were the taxes. But now, what has happened? We are following one thing, that is GST. Entire India is following one thing. There is uniformity, right? So, in this subject, business law, many laws will be introduced to you, and this first chapter will be seeing how these laws are made, how they are implemented, who is the person, what is the source of making the law. Okay, so what do you think when you the word law comes to your mind? What it grabs your attention? This law you have to follow, this thing you have to follow, something you have to follow, something is obliging on you, something is enforced on you. Law is a set of obligation and duties. You have to follow that duties. It contains your rights, but it has your duties also. Who has imposed it? Government. Government of India has imposed laws on us. Why they are doing it? For securing welfare and providing justice of society. Whenever we have a fight with someone or you see some fight over there, what they say? I'll see you in the court. Why? Because that's the place where they think that they'll get the justice and the laws will be applicable, the laws will be heard, the laws will be taken reference of. Okay? India's legal framework reflects the social, political, economic, cultural aspect because our country is diverse country. There are multiple religions being followed, multiple languages being spoken. So everything is different. For them to come on the same page, it reflects the laws that are prepared, contains for every language, for every religion, they have some provision. If some traditions are being followed in particular thing, so they have the particular provisions mentioned for it. For the Muslims, there's Muslim Act. For the Hindus, there are two types of acts. You might have heard in your 11th, 12th, Daya Bhaga, then the Mitakshara. There are two schools, right? So there is discrimination. They are providing for everything because it's a vast country. There are diversified people in the country. It is important that for everyone there is some provision. There are rights and duties for every person. Okay. I hope till here everything is clear, right? Let's move ahead. Let's see sources of law. From where this law comes? Who makes it? Constitution. We have the constitution. It contains how these laws are going to come. The main source of law in India is constitution, the statutes or laws made by parliament, state assemblies, presents or the judicial decisions of various court in some cases established customs and usages. This is the particular definition of sources. Now what all these things are? Constitution, the constitution, you know, that has been drafted, where rights and duties of every person is given. Every small thing you can refer in the constitution. The statutes are prepared, the laws are made. Who makes them? Parliament or state assembly meets. Presents means if a particular case was held at Supreme Court, what judgment came out, and when that judgment came out, the government felt that this judgment should become a law. That time a law is prepared. That is also a source of law. Or the judicial decisions of various court. It can happen like a high court's decision was very important and the government felt that now this should become a law. So they made it a law. Okay. And in some cases, established customs and usages. As the things are being followed, the customs are being followed for this. If they feel that some law should be prepared, some provision should be added, they'll be adding it. Okay. Now, we saw that plastic should be banned. This was why? Because the usage of plastic had increased to a higher level and it was damaging the society. It was damaging the environment. So, in Maharashtra, it is like that plastic has been banned compulsorily. There is a fine of around 5,000 or more than that to the people who are using it. Okay. Now, you must be aware that India is a parliamentary democracy. We have a constitution which is on the basis of all the laws. Like for all laws, you have to follow the constitution. Constitution is the base, and then all laws are prepared. This is the major thing. Like if anything goes wrong over here in any laws, you can refer to the constitution. Okay. We elect our representatives of parliament and the legislative also of the various states. We have the elections going on, all these things happen, and then we elect the members, the representatives to the parliament. Our representatives are being appointed in the parliament only. These representatives of people make the law. The law is drafted and these people sign it. Yes, okay, we can approve this law in the parliament or the state assembly as the case. Okay. So we can see that parliament is the ultimate law making body. Parliament, ultimate law making body. This you should always remember. Parliament is the ultimate law making body. Okay. Laws passed by parliament may apply throughout all the portion of India. It may apply to all the portion of India or somewhere they might give a relief. Okay. And only within the boundaries of the state concerned. Wherever they want to apply, they'll be mentioning it in the law. Okay. Now, the government of India passed by the Parliament of the United Kingdom is precursor for the Constitution of India. It defines the characteristics of the government from unitary to federal. Powers were distributed between center and state to avoid disputes. What happened in 1935? They distributed the powers. The government has the characteristic from unitary to it became federal. Now everyone has the freedom. They can connect and they can share their responsibilities and duties. It was divided. The powers were divided between center and state so that there is no dispute. Okay. Federal court was established and had the jurisdiction of appellate, original, and advisory. The powers of appellate jurisdiction extend to civil and criminal cases. We'll be learning what are the civil laws, criminal laws. So these particular type of cases are there. For this, appellate jurisdiction has the power on civil and criminal cases. Whereas the advisory jurisdiction was extended with the powers to federal court to advise governor general in matters of public opinion. When the matters of public opinion appear, advisory jurisdiction has been applied and the appellate has the power over there. Okay, same as the powers of the federal court. Now, federal court operated for 12 years and heard 151 cases. Federal court was supplanted by India's current apex court. This was all from 1935 to 1937. It started from 1935 and it lasted for 12 years. Okay, till 1947. And after that, the federal code was supplanted. It was taken over by India's current apex court, that is the Supreme Court. Apex means the highest. The Supreme Court of India is the highest court. Above this, no other jurisdiction is there in India. Okay. Constitution of India 1950 is the foremost law that deals with the framework within our democratic system. As I told you, it is the foremost law, the first law which was prepared for our democratic system. First law for our democratic system. And our laws are made for the people by the people. I told you that these laws has been drafted for the people. It has been drafted for the welfare of the people, social welfare, and to give the justice. For this, it has been and it is for the benefit of the people. Along with this, it is being prepared by the people whom we select, whom we take as the representative. They are only preparing the laws. Okay. Now, let's see what is the process of making law, how law is prepared. When a law is proposed in parliament, it is called just a bill. Then what happens? The bill is presented, discussion happens, debate happens. You might have seen in this that the debate is happening in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Then after this discussion, debate has been done, law is passed in Lok Sabha. It takes the consent of the members over there and it is passed in Lok Sabha. After passing the Lok Sabha, it is passed to Rajya Sabha. There also discussion will happen, debate will happen. Then if it is cleared in the house, Rajya Sabha house, then it will proceed to the for the assent of President of India. Now, President will see that this bill that they have drafted, is it correct or not? What all things are proposed in here? Should we make this as a law? When assent, when the positive signal, green signal and approval is received from President of India, this bill becomes a law. Then it will be notified by the government in the publication called the Official Gazette of India. It is to be remembered, the Official Gazette of India is where the law is published by the government. Law will become applicable from the date mentioned in the notification as the effective date. In the Official Gazette, if it is written today is 10th of December, 10th of December, this law is applicable from 10th of December. From 10th of December, this law will come into effect. That will be the effective date. Once it is notified and effective, it is called as Act of Parliament. Then, when it is notified and effective, it becomes Act of Parliament. Okay, I hope the law making process is clear. First, the law, like the draft law, is called as bill. It goes into discussion and debate of the Lok Sabha. Then, from Lok Sabha, it goes to Rajya Sabha, where it has obtained consent from both these houses. It goes to the president, and after the approval assent of the president, it becomes a law. Then it gets notified in the Official Gazette of India, where it is published. And after it is published in the Official Gazette of India, law will become applicable. The day it becomes applicable and effective, it is called as, it has become Act of Parliament. Act of Parliament. Okay. Now, let's see types of laws in the Indian legal system. Now, there are majorly four types, as I told you: criminal law, civil law, common law, and principles of natural justice. Let's see each one of them in detail over here. Criminal law is concerned with the laws pertaining to violation of the rules of law or public wrongs and punishment for the same. When some public does anything wrong, what all punishments are to be given is given under the criminal law. Criminal law is governed under the IPC, Indian Penal Code 1860. This is to be remembered. And Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, CRPC. Short forms also should be remembered for you. Indian Penal Code 1860 and the CRPC, the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. The Indian Penal Code defines crime. It gives us the definition what is crime, its nature, and the punishments are given. Whereas the CRPC, the Criminal Procedure Code 1973, defines exhaustive procedure for executing the punishment. The punishment that has been given by the government, that has been enacted, written in the law, how it has to be given, how it has to be executed is given into CPC or CRPC, you can say. Okay. I hope criminal law is clear. There are some examples given of criminal offenses: murder, rape, theft, fraud, cheating, assault are some examples of criminal offenses. Okay. This comes under the criminal law. Then coming to the civil law, matters of dispute between individuals or organizations are held under civil laws. When there are just disputes between people, these are held under civil law. Civil courts enforce the violation of certain rights and obligations through the institution of civil suit. Now, how they do it? They file a civil suit, and wherever the violation has been done of certain rights or obligations, it is filed under the civil suit with the civil suit under the civil law. Now, what all laws are governing it? Code of Civil Procedure 1908 CPC 1908 Code of Civil Procedure governs the civil cases, civil suits. Civil law primarily focuses on dispute resolution. There is no punishment, like the punishment will be the later stage. First, the prima facie duty of the civil courts or civil suits is that it gives you resolution, it resolves your queries, it resolves your disputes. Act of process and the administration of civil law are governed by the Code of Civil Procedure. As I told you, CPC, Code of Civil Procedure 1908, governs all the cases under the civil courts. Okay. Civil law can be further classified into law of contract, which we are going to learn in our syllabus, law of contract, family law, as I told you, Hindu Succession Act, Muslim Succession Act, all these Muslim laws, these are the family laws. Property law and the law of tort, wrongdoing, all these come under the civil law. Now, some examples of civil offenses are if I breach a contract, I make a contract with someone, I don't follow it, I breach it, I just don't follow the law, contract, I don't meet my expectations on the law, I don't complete the contract, that is breach of contract. I was asked to deliver some goods, but I didn't deliver. Non-delivery of goods is also a civil crime. Then it comes to non-payment of dues to lender or seller defamation. If some dues are there to some person for bank, suppose I had to pay 10 crore to bank, but I didn't pay. So this comes under civil law. This comes under civil cases. So this will be dealt by the Code of Civil Procedure and this will be taken into civil courts. Then what happens? Defamation. If I defame someone's name, that also comes under the civil case. Then we have disputes between landlord and tenant. Sometimes you might have heard that the tenant has acquired the house of landlord. He's not leaving the house only. So this also comes under the civil law, not under the criminal. Criminal is somewhere where you have violated the rules of law or public wrongs. You have done something wrong. But here in civil law, there is dispute, and this dispute is to be resolved by talking first, and then if it doesn't work, then it will be taken to the punishment stage. Okay. I hope difference between criminal and civil is clear, like from the definition. Let's proceed to the common law. Now, common law means a judicial precedent. As I told you, if some decision has been given by any of the court, and the government feels that this decision should become a law, that time it is called as common law. When suppose a verdict has been given by a Supreme Court, that is very important, and the Supreme Court feels this should become a law, that will become under the common law, not civil law, neither civil law nor criminal law. It will become common law. Okay. Judgment delivered by Supreme Court will be binding upon the courts within the territory of India. If Supreme Court has given a judgment, it is binding on all the courts in India, every person in India. Okay. As per Article 141 of the Indian Constitution, this should be remembered. Article 141 of the Indian Constitution says that any judicial precedent judgment given by the Supreme Court, that will be binding upon all the courts within the territory of India. Doctrine of stare decisis is the principle supporting common law. Which principle supports common law? Doctrine of stare decisis. Now, it is a Latin phrase that means to stand by that which is decided. Now, this doctrine stands by what judgment has been given. With that judgment's reference, this law is made, common law is made. Okay. The doctrine of stare decisis reinforces obligation of court to follow the same principle or judgment established by previous decisions while ruling a case where the facts are similar on all four legs. Now, what here all these things means, it's a too heavy thing. Let's just understand in the layman language. If suppose a judgment has been given by Supreme Court that after you have become age of 18, you become an adult. Now this age of 18 will become 21. After 21 only you can become an adult. Now if Somewhere this particular verdict came because some person did not follow the rules under the age of 18, and in 18 to 21's age someone has taken disadvantage of any particular right they had of an adulthood. Now what they do is, some similar case comes to high court of Tamil Nadu. Okay, now in high court of Tamil Nadu, some person has not followed these things. In 18 to 21 he has done something wrong, and that time they feel that this age, adulthood age, should be taken from 18 to 21. Now what they can do, they can take the reference of this common law as decided by Supreme Court. High Court of Tamil Nadu can take the reference of judgment given by the Supreme, considering all aspects of this judge of this case in high court is same as the judgment given of the case taken under consideration of the Supreme Court. All four legs should be similar. On all four legs, all the conditions should be same. Okay, to stand by that which is decided, we have to stand by on the verdict that has been decided by the Supreme Court. We have to follow that. Okay, considering all the cases are same, all the situations are same, and we have to follow the same principle or judgment as established by the previous decision. Supreme Court's decision was taken earlier, so all these decisions will be followed by the High Court Tamil Nadu. Okay, I hope all things are clear for the common law, right? Let's proceed further. One thing you have to remember, judgment by Supreme Court is applicable, is binding upon all the courts, and if a previous court's judgment is so important that it should be made as a law, that becomes a common law. Okay, doctrine of stare decisis is one thing you have to remember, which means to stand by that which is decided. We have to support by what is decided. We have to take the reference of it, what is decided earlier. Okay, now principles of natural justice. Now, natural justice, also known as, often known as just natural, deals with certain principles of justice going beyond written law. Anything is written in the law, but some case comes out which is not mentioned in the law. What is to be done? This time, sorry, we have to refer natural justice, principle of natural justice. What a just justice will should be done, what a right thing is there in this particular situation. If someone is there who should be punished and he has done a murder, but this murder was not a planned murder, it was in self defense. Now this is the time where principle of natural justice comes under picture. They have to understand, was it the right thing to do at this time, or he could have taken some other help, he could have taken another step. That is where principles of natural justice comes in, where there is nothing written in the law. Beyond law, if we want to do something, that comes under principles of natural justice. Okay, nemo judex in causa sua, it means no one should be made a judge in his own cause, and it's a rule against prejudice. If you have done some particular cause, you are not the one who is going to judge, other person is going to judge. Audi altrum partem, literally meaning hear the other party or give the other party a fair hearing. You can't take the judgment on only one cause. You have to give the other party a chance of being heard. Opportunity of being heard is very important to be given to the other party also. Okay, and reasoned decisions are rules of natural justice. If we are doing some natural justice, we are taking the support of natural justice, as I gave you in this particular case, that this murder was done in the self defense. If that is done, reasons should be there, reasoned decision should be taken. There should be strong reasons to believe that this is not murder but a self defense act. Okay, you might have heard about this in the movie, if I'm not wrong, Rustam. So there was, this thing was done under self defense. He proved out that that thing was done, the murder was done under self defense. Okay, a judgment can override or alter a common law, but it cannot override or change the statute. A judgment can override the common law, this principle of natural justice, or a judgment that has been passed, it can override the earlier established common law, but it cannot go beyond the constitution, beyond the statute that has been prescribed. Okay, one second. Now, we learned the types of law. We need to see how these laws are enforced. Now, after a law is passed in the parliament, it has to be enforced. Somebody has to keep a watch, somebody has to monitor whether these laws are being followed. If not, what is there? This job, this laws being followed or not, this monetization comes under the executives. The job is of the executive level, executive department. Now, depending on whether is a law or state, central law or state law, or or a state law, the central or the state government will be enforcing authority. If it's a state law, then state government will be enforcing authority, will be formulating an committee, ministry, and how whosoever is going to see that the laws are being followed. If it's a central law, central government will be making a team, will be making a ministry. Okay, that is how we'll be learning our next topic of major regulatory bodies, where the ministries will come into picture. For this purpose, government functions are distributed to various ministries. As I told you, they'll be making a ministry. For education, they have a separate ministry. For agriculture, they have a separate ministry. Right? Now, some of the popular ministries are Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the Ministry of Home Affairs. Then you have the Ministry of Law and Justice, and so on. N number of them are there. Okay, so this is how we discussed few of them, the major ones. Ministries are headed by a minister, and the officers are appointed by the Indian government, Indian Administrative Services. These are the officers who are running these ministries. Okay, they are always headed by a minister in it, that is selected. Government of India exercises its executive authorities through a number of government ministries. As I told you, there are a number of departments, number of ministries there. It composes of elected officials. These are elected. These are the civil servants, and is politically accountable through a minister. Who are they are accountable to a minister? Okay, through a minister, all these people are accountable. Most major ministries are headed by a cabinet minister. Always there's a cabinet minister. Major ministries are headed by them, who sits in the Union Council of Ministers and typically supported by a team of junior ministers called ministers of the state. There are multiple states minister, and one of them is the cabinet minister, which is sitting in the Council of Ministers, Union of the Council of Ministers. There are multiple states ministers who are the team of the junior ministers, for whom the cabinet minister. Cabinet minister is sitting in where? Union Council of Ministers. Okay. They have given an example. Let's just see that. For example, the Income Tax Act is implemented and enforced by the Ministry of Finance through the Central Board of Direct Taxes, coming under the Department of Revenue, and is administered by the officers of Indian Revenue Service. We will see some of the major ministries and laws which are enforced by them. Now, what they have said, the Income Tax Act is implemented and enforced by Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance is preparing and implementing, enforcing Income Tax Act. They are the one who are going to keep a check. Ministry of Finance is going to keep a check through the Central Board for Direct Taxes. They are doing this under Central Board of Direct Taxes, coming under the Department of Revenue. This Central Board of Direct Taxes comes under Department of Revenue. Ministry of Finance, this thing particular Central Board of Direct Taxes comes under Department of Revenue. And this is administered by officers of Indian Revenue Service. Indian Revenue Service officers are going to keep an eye on this, are going to administer this. Okay. Now let's see some major ministries and the laws which are enforced by. Coming to the Ministry of Finance, Vita Mantralaya, as it is said in Hindi, is a ministry within the government of India concerned with economy of India, the money matters of India, serving as Treasury of India, Ministry of Finance. In particular, it concerns itself with taxation, financial legislation, financial institutions, capital markets, center state finances, and the union budget. The budget, you might have heard this thing. Ministry of Finance is the one who prepares the budget and presents it, right? So what all things are done by the Ministry of Finance? It is concerned with taxation, financial legislation, financial institution, capital market, center and state finances, and the union budget. What are we going to do as a chartered accountant? In our day-to-day life, our life will be impacted by the ministry and its proclamation. Anything they do changes in over there, it is going to impact us. Ministry is so important that ministers have preferred to hold the portfolio of finance minister also. They hold the portfolio of finance minister also. One of the important function of this finance ministry is presentation of union budget. As I told you, they'll be preparing this budget and they'll be presenting it. That is the main thing that they do. Major responsibility of Ministry of Finance. For in the budget, everything is provided for someone. Like for everyone, there is something provided. They have given for the agri things, what all things are changing. For the health sector, what all things are changing. Industrial sectors, various sectors, everything is given over there, right? This annual event is eagerly waited by professionals. You see, on 1st of Feb, all our eyes are on the TV, seeing the Union Finance budget being presented over there, right? And the common man also is that much eager and relatable to all these things, eagerly waits. They don't understand all those things given in the budget, but we, the chartered accountants, will be aware, will be learning all these things, what all things are given in the budget, how these things are going to impact us. For this, we should be well aware of the laws. If we know the laws, we know the taxes, we know the policies and provisions given, we'll be able to understand ourselves clearly about all these laws, and we'll be able to present them to whom our management, our clients will be able to make them understand. Okay. Now, all the rates of taxes, budget allocations, all these things are given in the union budget. That is the work of Ministry of Finance, the major task. Now, let's see who presented the maximum number of union budgets as the finance minister. Shri Moraji Desai, during his stint as finance minister between 1962 and 1969, a period of 7 years, has presented 10 union budget, making it the highest 10 union budget in 7 years. Next on the list is Shri P. Chidambaram at 9, followed by Shri Pranav Mukherjee at 8, and Shri Yashwant Sinha and Dr. Manmohan Singh have presented 8 and 6 budgets respectively. Okay, this may be of just a knowledge kind of thing for you. You can remember. Okay, now, who are there in the Ministry of Finance? What is the constitution? It is the apex controlling authority of what? Four central services. What are four central services? Indian Revenue, Indian Audit and Account Service, Indian Economic Service, Indian Civil Account Service. Anything related to your revenue, audit, economy, and accounts is there in this. And this is the apex. Ministry of Finance is the apex of it. It is controlling what? Four authorities. Indian Revenue Services, Indian Audit and Account Services, Indian Economic Services, Indian Civil Account Service. Also, the apex controlling authority of one of the central commerce services, namely Indian Cost and Management Account Services. Also, it is controlling whom? Indian Cost and Management Account Service. Okay. Now, let's see various departments in Ministry of Finance they have given. Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Expenditure. What all economic affairs are happening, they have a separate department. Expenditures for wherever, whichever department, whichever government, whichever company, government company, whichever particular cause, suppose road construction is there. For this, how much expenditure is to be given, how much money is to be given, all this is coming under Department of Expenditure. Now, if they have given the money for road construction, how much toll was connected, what was the revenue, how much they have generated, all this will come under Department of Revenue. Then we have Department of Financial Services. What all financial services are being provided, they have a separate department. Then they have Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. What are the assets that are there of the public and the investments are managed at a different department. And the last one is Department of Public Enterprises. For public entities, there is a separate department for public companies. Okay, so these are the major 6 departments of Ministry of Finance: Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Expenditure, Department of Revenue, Department of Financial Services, Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, Department of Public Enterprise. I hope a glimpse of this is clear to you. I have just given you a brief about everything. That's not given in your context, but for your knowledge, you should understand particular departments. That's why I've given you a little bit knowledge of it. Hope that is clear here. Okay. Then we have Ministry of Corporate Affairs. You might have heard this word when it comes to company formation, MCA, right? It's an Indian government ministry primarily concerned with what? Administrating all the Companies Act, all the companies as registered under the Companies Act 2013. Before 2013 Act, there was Companies Act 1956. Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008, and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Where we heard this word code earlier, we heard it somewhere when it came to Code of Hammurabi, right? Hammurabi, where we heard that there was codes. written over there. So this is the similar way. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, the Companies Act 2013, Companies Act 1956, and the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. All these are governed under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, right? This Ministry of Affairs is responsible mainly for regulation of Indian enterprises in the industries and services sector. Ministry is mostly run by the civil servants or ICLS cadre. Okay, ICLS cadre, all these civil servants are running this. These officers are elected through civil services. You have to give the civil services exam, then only you can be elected to be person of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Now, these officers are elected through civil services examination conducted by UPSC. You might have heard this word, UPSC, Union Public Service Commission. The highest post in Ministry of Corporate Affairs is of Director General of Corporate Affairs, DGCOA, or DGCA you can say. Is fixed at apex scale for the ICSLS. Okay, right? I hope Ministry of Corporate Affairs is clear. Everything related to Companies Act 2013, 1956, Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008, and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 is taken care by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Okay. Then we have Ministry of Home Affairs. This was the corporate affairs, all the company affairs. Now, who is going to see the other things? Home Affairs, Graha Mantralaya, right? It's the Ministry of Government of India. As an interior Ministry of India, it is responsible for what? Maintenance of internal security and domestic policy. All the domestic policies that have been drafted, there is internal security between the states. These things are ensured by Ministry of Home Affairs. Home Ministry is headed by Union Minister of Home Affairs. Okay. There are further departments which we'll be seeing. What all departments are there? Department for Border Management. I told you that there should be internal security. For this, they have to keep a track on the border, on the state's border, and also the country's border. So they have a different department, Department of Border Management. All related tasks to the borders are seen by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Then comes the Ministry of Internal Security. There is safety security for all the citizens of the country. It is taken after by Department of Internal Security. Okay. Then we have Department of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh Affairs. All the affairs related to Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh are kept separate, and a separate department has been done. Department of Home, for the other ones there is Department of Home. Then we have for different states Department of States. There will be sub departments in Department of State for every department. Department of Official Language. Official language that is going to be used for this, they have a department separately. All these departments come under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay. This much was important for you to know the names of the department. Department of Border Management, Department of Internal Security, Department of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh Affairs, Department of Home, Department of Official Language, and Department of States. 6 departments need to be kept in mind, only their names. Okay. Now, Department of Official Language. Now, what all things are there over here? There are further departments called as Central Translation Bureau. Whatever things are written in the description, the official languages in Hindi, these are to be translated and provided to different countries. So they have a Central Translation Bureau for it. Then we have Central Hindi Training Institute. Those who don't know Hindi, like they are not aware of the Hindi language, they don't know how to prepare the documents in Hindi, and various documents that are there which are to be provided by the officers in the Hindi language, being the official language over here, they have to be taken care under the Central Hindi Training Institute. Okay. Then we have Directorate of Census Operation. Okay. All these are the departments. Department of Official Languages subdivided into 3 categories. Right. Let's move ahead and see Ministry of Law and Justice. Now, what does this Ministry of Law and Justice do? This is the government of India. It's a cabinet ministry. As I told you, it is heading the all the ministers are there under this cabinet ministry. Now it deals with what? Management with the legal affairs through the legislative department. Legislative department has to see all the legal affairs that are being carried on. Legislative activities through the Department of Legal Affairs. All these are taken care by the Ministry of Law and Justice. Okay. Administration of justice in India through the Department of Justice. All these are tasks of what all Ministry of Law and Justice deals with, right? Department of Legal Affairs is concerned with the advising various ministers of what of the central government, while the legislative department is concerned with drafting the legislation, drafting principal legislation. Department of Legal Affairs, what it does, it is concerned with giving the advice to various ministries. Okay, this ministry is facing issue with this particular law. Suppose the environmental law. Who is going to give advice? Department of Legal Affairs. Whereas the legislative department, what it will do? It is going to draft the principal legislation, how all the laws are to be formulated. All these things are taken care by the legislative department. Okay. So we have three departments under Ministry of Law and Justice. One we saw, Department of Legal Affairs, who is concerned with advising various types of ministries of the central government. While then we have the Legislative Department. Legislative Department, what is going to do? It's going to draft or provide for all the legislation. Then we have Department of Justice. When you want to take the justice, we approach the Department of Justice. The courts and all come under Department of Justice. I hope this is clear. All the ministries are clear till here. Then we'll be moving ahead to SEBI, the next major regulatory body in India. Okay, we have completed Ministry of Finance. Then we have the SEBI. Let's see what SEBI says. Ministry of Finance is done. SEBI, Ministry of Law and Justice is done. Ministry of Corporate Affairs is done. Now we are moving ahead to SEBI, Security and Exchange Board of India. What does it regulate? You might have heard somewhere SEBI, security market, stock market, share market, right? This share market, security market, commodity market, all these are governed by Security and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, under the ownership of what? Of whom? Ministry of Finance within the government of India. Ministry of Finance is going to lead everyone. Okay. Now, under this also, there is SEBI. It was established on 12th April 1988 as an executive body. They are going to do the functions. Executive means to perform some function. And was given statutory powers. They had the controlling powers on 30th January 1992. They had the power to make the act, right? When they got it in 1992, 30th January. Okay, through SEBI Act 1992. You have to remember, SEBI Act was enforced, like they got the statutory powers in 1990. SEBI board was established when? 12 April 1988. When did the SEBI Act came into picture? 30th January 1992. Okay, these two things are to be kept in mind. Let's see, RBI, Reserve Bank of India. You might have heard this word. Central bank, the bank which is at the center of all the banks. All banks come and talk to RBI. All banks approach for all these things to RBI. India's central bank and regulatory body responsible for regulation of all the entire banking system works under RBI. It is under the ownership of whom again? Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance is going to control SEBI, RBI. Now, it is responsible for the control and issuing and maintaining the supply of Indian rupee. RBI has a task. It is responsible for how much money is to be issued. It has to keep a track and record on issue and supply of the Indian rupee. There should be a control over it. It also manages country's main payment systems and works to promote for economic development. What is the major task? It has to see or have to maintain a control on issue of the currency and maintenance of supply of Indian rupee. Also manage country's main payment system and have to work to promote economic development. The government should, the country should be developing. The economy of the India should be developing. Bharatiya Reserve Bank Note Mudran, BRBNM, is a specialized division of RBI through which it prints and mints Indian currency. Through which it prints and mints. How it prints and mints Indian currency under BRBNM. Okay, is two of its currency printing processes located in Nasik, Western India, and Devas, Central India. Nasik in Maharashtra, Western India, and Devas in the Central India. Okay, these are the two places where the currency is printed and processed. Okay. RBI established the National Payments Corporation of India as one of its specialized division to regulate what payment and settlements. Now, every day you see there are payments being done. You make a QR code scan and payment. That payment is done. Who is going to take after? National Payments Corporation. Okay, National Payments Corporation of India (NPC) is going to take care of it. Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation was established by RBI. There are multiple things happening in banks. So for everything, they'll be making a corporation or a separate department. Okay. Deposit insurance and guarantee. You deposit the money, that goes under deposit insurance. You avail the facilities, you take the loan, you take the credit card facilities, you take, that goes under Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. Okay, these are established by RBI as the specialized division for what, providing insurance of deposits and guaranteeing credit facilities to all Indian banks. To all Indian banks, whatever loans they take from the RBI, they are taken care under the Credit Guarantee Corporation. Okay, I hope RBI is clear to you. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's see IBBI, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Huh? They have been developed under the IBC code. Now, first what happened? IBBI, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. It is regulator or overseeing insolvency proceedings. Sometimes what happens? Companies do not have enough money. Now they can't function. So if they can't function, they have to be declared as insolvent. Then insolvency procedure is to happen, that they do not have money, whatever money or assets that they have sufficient are not sufficient, and whatever is there they need to sell off and give the money to the people whom they owe that money, whom they have to repay that money. Okay, and entities like insolvency professional agencies, insolvency professionals, and information utilities IU in India. All these insolvency proceedings and entities are governed under the IBBI board. There are insolvency professional agencies. Some agencies are set up, are formed by the people who are insolvent professionals, and they are the one who are going to file the insolvency process. They are going to take care of all the proceeding. There are also individual insolvency professionals. We chartered accountants also, after clearing the insolvency examination in IB, we can also become insolvency professionals. Okay, and information utilities IU in India. All these are governed under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Okay, when was it established? 1st October 2016, and given statutory powers through the IBC code, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. I told you this has been given power under the code. We learned in the SEBI, the board was formed, and then in 1992 they formed the act. But here this code was formed and they were given powers. Okay, this board was formed by giving powers as prescribed in the code. Which code? Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. When was it made? 1st October 2016. Okay, passed by Lok Sabha on 5th May 2016. Passing was done on 5th May. When it came to effect, when it was established, 1st October 2016. Okay, whom all, what are the entities covered? Individual also can become bankrupt. Company also can become bankrupt. Limited liability partnership, normal partnerships, all these can become bankrupt. All are covered under this IBBI board. Okay, all the proceedings are covered under this IBBI board. New code will speed up the resolution process. Why it was done? Because it is going to speed up the resolution process. Now these cases will be settled easily. The payments will be done easily to the banks, creditors. Everyone will receive their payments easily and very fast. Okay, for the stressed assets in the country, whatever assets are there of these people in the country which are not giving that much of return, this will be resolved, or this will be released by the IBPI board. The professionals that are there, the IPA agencies that are there, they'll be releasing all this and giving the funds to the particular owners. Okay, it attempts to simplify the insolvency and bankruptcy proceedings. Whatever proceedings are there of insolvency, person has not received the money, creditor is waiting for their money, the company is not paying the money. All these procedures are speeded up. They are simplified by the informations provided by the insolvency professionals as given by the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. And they are all governed by Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. It handles what? Cases using two tribunals, NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, and Debt Recovery Tribunal. NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, and Debt Recovery Tribunal. These all things are there in your CA final level examination. Okay. You just have to remember two things. Two tribunals, Debt recovery, the money is to be recovered, so debt recovery tribunal. National company law tribunal, all the laws are followed, all the proceedings of closure of the insolvency are followed, all these things are to be checked by NCLT. Okay, I hope these all major regulatory bodies are clear to you, right? Now, last concept for today is structure of the Indian judicial system. How our judicial system is drafted. As I told you, Supreme Court is the apex. Who's under that? High Court. And then we have your district courts and the civil courts. Okay, metropolitan courts, civil courts. When there's a dispute between citizens or between citizens and the government, these disputes are resolved by the judiciary. As I told you, there is a dispute, we say, I'll see you in the court. I'll take you to the court. So this judiciary is there. Functions of judiciary system of India. What is the function? To regulate the interpretation of the acts. Whatever acts are there, whatever things are given in the acts, these are not understood by the normal people. So regulating their interpretation, that it is clear and understood by all the citizens. Dispute resolution, you run to the court, you run to the judiciary system. Promotion of fairness among the citizen of the land. Everyone is equal, everyone has their equal treatment. This fairness is given by the Indian judicial system. Okay, in the hierarchies of court, Supreme Court is at the top, followed by the High Court, then your district court. Decisions of a High Court are binding in the respective state. High Court takes a decision binding on all this on this particular state. If I take a decision that has been given by High Court of Tamil Nadu, it is going to be enforced by High Court. It is going to be enforced in the state of Tamil Nadu only. If I take that is decision has been given by High Court of Maharashtra, it is going to be enforced only on the state of Maharashtra. Okay, but are only persuasive in other states. Other states can take reference, but it is not binding on them. Okay, decision of Supreme Court binding on all high courts under Article 141. We learned it earlier also. Decision of Supreme Court binding on all the high courts under Article 141 of the Indian Constitution of India. Supreme Court's decision is the final word. I told you there is no other judiciary above Supreme Court. So anything Supreme Court says, that is final. You can't proceed further. You can't take appeal against appeal against the Supreme Court. There is no authority where you can appeal against the Supreme Court. Okay. Now, Supreme Court is the apex body of the judiciary. As I told you, the main body and the highest top priority body. It was established on 26th January 1950. The Chief Justice of India is the highest authority, who is appointed under Article 126. Principal bench of Supreme Court consists of 7 members. There are 7 members in the principal bench of Supreme Court. You have to remember this. 7 members in the principal bench of Supreme Court, including Chief Justice of India. Chief Justice of India is also one person. So there are remaining six people, six people in the bench of India, 6 members in the principal bench of Supreme Court other than the Chief Justice of India. Presently, the number has been increased to 34. Now, including Supreme Court, there are 34. Okay, due to the rise in number of cases and workload, there is a lot of workload. You see, there are files and files kept in the courts. So all these workload is there has increased from 7 to it became to 34. Okay, an individual can seek relief in the Supreme Court by filing a writ petition. You need to get a relief in the Supreme Court. You have to file a writ petition. Okay. Now, coming to High Court, the highest court of appeal in each state and union territory is the High Court. If you want to appeal in your state, particular state, you can go highest maximum to the High Court in your particular state. Then when it becomes question of law and everything, you go to Supreme Court. When you want to appeal against the High Court, you go to Supreme Court. Article 214 of the Indian Constitution state that there must be a high court in each state. In every state, there must be one high court. Okay. High Court has appellant, original jurisdiction, and supervisory jurisdiction. What happens? High Court takes the cases of that are appealed against which court? District Court. Below the High Court, there is District Court. So, where the District Court's decision is not accepted, suppose I have a dispute and I do not accept the decision given by District Court, I'll go to the High Court. So, it is appellant. Or some case may be directly filed to High Court, that is the original jurisdiction. Or the government has given some particular district court's decision to be supervised by the High Court. So supervisory jurisdiction also comes under High Court. 3 tasks are there for High Court: appellant, Original jurisdiction and supervisory jurisdiction. Okay, I hope this is clear. Article 227 of the of the Indian Constitution limits, it sets a limit on what High Court superior powers. Supervisory powers are having a limit under Article 227. In India, there are 25 High Courts. How many are there? 25. One for each state and union territory, and one for each state and union territory. Okay, one for each state and union territory. There are 25 high courts. Six states share a single high court. There are total six states which are sharing only one high court. Okay, we'll be discussing it. An individual can seek remedies against violation of fundamental rights in high courts by filing a writ petition or writ under Article 226. As I told you, there can be original jurisdiction also. Directly you went to the high court for appeal, or for sorry, not for appeal, for filing your writ. So that is done under Article 226. When you have a violation against fundamental rights, someone did not let you speak anywhere you wanted. The right of speech, right of freedom, right to live, all these fundamental rights were restricted, violated. That time you go to the high court. Okay, now, which is the oldest high court in India? Calcutta High Court, established on 2nd July 1862. Before independence, 2nd July 1862, this high court was established, and it is the oldest high court. Okay, I hope Supreme Court and High Court is clear. Let's proceed to the last two things: district court and the metropolitan courts. Okay, district court, below the high court are the district court. For your particular district, there might be a court. I am living in Aurangabad, so I have a district court over here, Aurangabad district. The courts of district judge deal with civil law matters. As we explained, we learned earlier, civil law matters where the disputes are there, contractual disputes and claims for damages, all these are dealt by district courts. Okay, the court of session deals with criminal matters. Court of sessions are made, they are dealing with the criminal matter. Under pecuniary jurisdiction, a civil judge can try suits valuing not more than 2 crore. If the value goes for any particular damage, any particular contractual agreement dispute, the value exceeds 2 crore, go to the high court. Up to 2 crore, stay in the district court. Okay, up to 2 crore you can file to district court. Then if amount exceeds 2 crore, you have to move ahead to higher courts. Okay, jurisdiction means the power to control. They have the control. Court gets territorial jurisdiction based on areas covered by them. As we learned that there are six states which are having one single high court. So that high court has control over six states. But if I talk about Maharashtra, or any other state, Tamil Nadu. So if they have control over one state, they'll have that one territory only. Okay. Cases are decided on the local limits within which the parties reside. If they reside in the Maharashtra, High Court of Maharashtra is going to look. If they reside in Tamil Nadu, High Court of Tamil Nadu is going to see. Both these parties should be residing over there. Okay, within which the parties reside or the property under dispute is situated. If two people are fighting and they have a property in Maharashtra, they both are living in Tamil Nadu. Now, what they'll be seeing, that the property is in Maharashtra, so this dispute can be taken in Maharashtra also or in the Tamil Nadu also. If one person and the property were under dispute are in Maharashtra, it is going to be taken under Maharashtra's high court, district court. Okay, or if in the particular city you say, if it is in Bangalore, these people are there in Bangalore, that both the parties and the property is also situated in Bangalore, it is to be taken by the district court of Bangalore. Okay, I hope this example is clear. Coming to metropolitan courts, now how it is different. Metropolitan cities have a different code. Metropolitan courts are established in metropolitan cities in consultation with the high court, where population is 10 lakh or more, where your population of the particular city exceeds 10 crore or more, that's where metropolitan courts are established. Chief Metropolitan Magistrate has the powers as Chief Judicial Magistrate. Same as the powers of Chief Judicial Magistrate are the powers of Chief Metropolitan Magistrate, the highest authority of a metropolitan court. Okay, and Metropolitan Magistrate has the powers as the Court of Magistrate of the first class. Court of magistrates powers are same of the metropolitan magistrate. Now see, there are some hierarchies in this laws, like chief metropolitan magistrate, and below them is a metropolitan magistrate. Okay, these are for metropolitan courts. For the district courts, there will be chief judicial magistrate, and below him will be magistrate, court of a magistrate. So first class person under the court of magistrate, and then chief judicial magistrate. Okay, similar powers are given to them, same as the district court. But what happens when the population is more, they had to establish the metropolitan courts over there. Okay, I hope these all concepts are clear, right? So we have completed our entire concept. Now we'll be like recalling the things we learned. About 6 things. Let's just move to the first page and see what all things we done. Meaning of law, we have let me just start the annotation. Yeah, meaning of law and its sources, we saw what is law, obligation, set of obligations and duties. Then we saw sources from where it comes: constitution, statutes, judicial precedents, right? Types of law, we saw there are 4 types: criminal law, civil law, common law, and principle of natural justice. Enforcement of law, executive bodies are there. Then we saw all the major regulatory bodies such as Ministry of Finance, MCA, SEBI. Tell me, SEBI and RBI come under which? Ministry of Finance. Very nice. You are recalling things, right? Then we saw IBBI, Insolvency Bankruptcy Board, and we saw Ministry of Law and Justice. Okay. Then we saw the state, like the status of the judiciaries, how who is at the highest apex authority. Supreme Court is the highest. Then we have your High Court, your district courts, and also the metropolitan courts. Okay. I hope all the concepts are clear to you and it was fun learning with me. Right? Thank you.